Final Fantasy IX was released in July 7th of 2000. It is developed by Squaresoft and it was produced by Hironori Sakaguchi and Shinji Hashimoto. I apologize if I got those names butchered. But it's fitting that I finally get to this game, seeing as its 25th anniversary is this year, and that there's been rumors of a remake for the past 3 years or so. So I'll be very interested to see if they announce anything in July. So, Final Fantasy IX is the last mainline Final Fantasy to be released on the PS1. Arguably, probably Final Fantasy's golden age between 7, 8, 9, and Tactics. Visually, I think Final Fantasy IX, especially with the HD remaster, is spectacular. I think that it has a very unique look, and I think that if you were to make a 3D version of the first 6 games, this is as close you could get as far as like the sort of scrunched down characters, and it's impressive when you compare the characters from 9 to 7. And the cutscenes, of course, are amazing as well. It's really mind-boggling that this game was a PlayStation 1 game. I can only imagine how difficult it was for the system at the time to run something like this. It's no wonder that the battles take time to load to a painful extent. And speaking of gameplay, it's very much in line with what you would expect from the first 10 games. It's a action turn-based system. And you take turns, and there's an ability where you build up your meter and you basically go full Super Saiyan for each of your characters, and your characters will get certain abilities when they basically turn into like their rainbow mode and of course become more powerful. Of course, with the HD version, you can just toggle that sort of thing, which is helpful if you get stuck in the game, or you can just boost up your attack power to 9,000 with just the push of a button if you're playing the game, for the umpteenth time and you just want to experience the story again. All these are helpful for older games like this, for people that get stuck and are just like, I've tried to beat this boss several times and I'm just stuck and I want to continue the story. I'm all for older games doing this. But I think that the most interesting thing is the equipment system. So, similar to the materia system where your abilities come from your equipment, but instead of equipping materia to said equipment, the equipment comes with a set number of abilities that level up as you level up. Or at least that's how I understand it so far, having been only about 9 or 10 hours into the game. And you can equip these items and you get abilities, and of course you want like magic items that increase your magic by 10% for your mages and black mages and clerics, and then maybe you'll want one like a knife that increases your warrior's attack by 10%. So stuff like that is something that I think it's fairly simple. And I think that this is a good contender for a list I eventually want to make for what Final Fantasy should you start with, because I think the game's battle system is, while very easy to understand, is fun. I think so far, combat-wise, Freya is my favorite character to play. I've always had a soft spot for the Dragoons and the Red Mages, and this character is a combination of the two. But speaking of characters, our main character that will be playing for most of the game is Zidane Tribal, who is sort of a young Han Solo type. I think this is the character that Vaughn from Final Fantasy XII wished he was. While I do like Vaughn, I think Zidane is much more funny and likable, and he's sort of a young Han Solo type. And you especially get that like once he kidnaps the princess, because there's a very similar chemistry between him and Princess Garnet that Han and Leia had, where she hates to admit that he likes him because he's a little bit of a scoundrel. But, speaking of Princess Garnet, her kidnapping is the opening of this game. Zidane and his cohorts are come up with a plan to kidnap the princess, and that is what starts the sort of some of the main conflicts in the game. And of course, in Final Fantasy tradition, the opening is very exciting and pulls you right in. I think the first 2 hours of this game are both fun and exciting, and it just gives you everything that you want from the opening of an adventure game. And I think that this game definitely feels like a callback to classic adventure games, and I think in a lot of ways it feels like an old-fashioned swashbuckling adventure, and I think that could be why it's often considered by Sakaguchi as his favorite Final Fantasy. And in the past couple of years, I've heard a lot of people say that this one is underrated and deserves to be at the top. And while I don't know where I'm going to place it in my ranking just yet, I could see it definitely being somewhere in the middle of the pack, if not a little bit higher. We'll have to see how the game progresses. But I'm enjoying the adventure so far, and it's already a recommendation for me. I think that if somehow you missed out on this one as a Final Fantasy fan, I think you need to pick it up. I mean, it's available on Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. And it's already a recommendation for me. I think that if you're thinking about getting into the series, this wouldn't be a bad one to start off with. I think that it's fairly easy to understand, and its combat is simple like 7's, and it's not nearly as complicated as 8's. Though I love 8 for that, and so far it's not nearly as hard as 10. Like I've not gotten a TPK just yet. So if you're a Final Fantasy fan, or a newer fan, or somebody that's thinking about getting in the series, let me know. Comment below. Let me know about how you would rank Final Fantasy IX. And I'm excited to eventually make a video once I finish it. Take care.